In this video, I'm creating Harry Potter pet companions in one of these frames. I have all my supplies ready to go. I'm going to use Sculpey Ultra Light that I colored gray. I also have some liquid Sculpey and some hand sanitizer. The hand sanitizer is to smooth out the Sculpey Ultra Light, and of course my tools. I am starting out by making the name banners for the two creatures. I will be making Hedwig and Nagini today. I used this tin foil underneath my clay. I do not advise, just use some other material like baking paper or parchment paper, because this stuck to the tin foil and I pulled it away and it was all warped, so I had to do it again. I will of course leave all the details on the materials used in the description box below if you like to purchase any. So this is my failed attempt. Let's see the final one. This is the new one and this turned out just fine. And I'm just draping this over this parchment wrapped board, and this is going into the oven by itself so I can paint it and glue it on in the end. It's just easier to paint that way. Let's get into creating the creatures. I am starting with Hedwig. And the first thing I do is sculpt it out with tin foil. I then attach it with some liquid Sculpey and then go over it with a hairdryer. This way it cures the liquid Sculpey without me having to put it in the big oven, and it just attaches the tin foil to the board. I am using two cabochons for Hedwig's eyes. I first go in with black and then with yellow. I'm just painting the back of the cabochons to make the eyes. Before I attach the Sculpey, I am going to go over with liquid Sculpey so the clay attaches to the tin foil. Hedwig is a snowy owl given to Harry Potter by Hagrid for his 11th birthday in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Hedwig often delivers messages for Harry and is able to find the addressee even if she is not given a specific address, as is the case with Sirius Black in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. The role of Hedwig was played by several male snowy owls throughout the Harry Potter series, most notably by a snowy owl named Gizmo. Female owls are larger and have darker markings than male owls, so the lighter male was easier for Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter, to work with. Radcliffe's arm was protected by a thick leather arm guard, similar to the type used in falconry, when Gizmo perched upon it. Gizmo had stand-ins that would take his place when the lighting for scenes was being worked out, as well as for some flying sequences. One of Hedwig's biggest scenes takes place in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, when Professor McGonagall presents new Gryffindor seeker Harry with a Nimbus 2000. It took roughly 6 months to train Gizmo with the needed behavior. For this, Gizmo carried a broom made from plastic tubing that was lighter in weight than most owls' prey. The broom was held by a temporary attachment to his talons, but like the other owl pose deliveries, it was tied to a harness mechanism that the trainer released in the right spot for Harry to catch. And here we have Hedwig. Well, not finished yet, but Hedwig, the sculpt is done, and let's move on to Nagini. I struggled a little bit with the tin foil and how I wanted her to look, but in the end I ended up with just her head sticking out and then a piece of tail coming out as well. Nagini the snake is Lord Voldemort's companion and a Horcrux. Nagini tries to kill Arthur Weasley at the Ministry of Magic in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, but fails. Using the same steps as before, I put some liquid Sculpey on the tin foil and then I'm just going to attach the clay. The snake appears in a terrifying scene at Godric's Hollow in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, as she attempts to kill Harry but narrowly fails again. Now, I've never made a snake before, a snake sculpt, so here is me attempting to make a snake sculpt, and I think she looks really good in the end, but maybe a little bit cartoonish, I don't know. I think she looks good for a snake as far as snakes go, and my husband is terrified to death of snakes, an irrational fear, I don't know. But he edits my videos, so I need to give a little shout out to my husband. Thank you for going through this. In order for Voldemort to be destroyed, Nagini needs to be killed, a task that is accomplished by Neville Longbottom wielding the Sword of Gryffindor in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Here's the little snake of clay that I was talking about that is going to be the tail and sticking out at the top. Nagini was also a Maledictus, cursed to transform into a snake. Originating possibly in Indonesia, by 1927 she was a performer at the Circus Arcanus. Of course, she needs to have a little tongue, so that's what I'm attaching here with some liquid Sculpey. With the side of a broken tool, I kept this tool just for this purpose. I am rolling the tool over the surface of the snake because it is the perfect scale texture, and this gives the entire sculpt the texture that I needed to have. With even smaller cabochons that I used for Hedwig, I am going in with a black paint and then a muted mustardy kind of yellow for Nagini's eyes. By 1994, Nagini was seemingly trapped in snake form and belonged to Lord Voldemort. Here we have both sculpts ready and baked and ready to get painted, and this is how these banners fit on the actual wooden board. I can just paint them separately and then stick them on later. I am first going in with a very plain matte black paint for the background, as I did with all the previous boards as well, and also into the lettering that I paint over later anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but I thought this would stay, but it didn't. And then dry brushing a beige on top of the banners, and this is where you can see that I cover up the black paint again, but I will fill it in later. With that same beige, I'm going to give the snake its base color, and later on I will also put a wash over her, so all the scales will stand out in the end. Hedwig was kind of simple. I had that gray under layer of the clay anyway, so I only had to brush on some white paint and some black around the edges for shading. And of course a black beak. Now we get into the even more fun part, detailing a Nagini. I had fun with this. I don't quite know what kind of snake Nagini is because it has different stories on the internet and in the books and whatever I could find, so I went with this. After Voldemort discovered that Harry was searching for his Horcruxes in 1998, Voldemort placed Nagini into a protective magical cage to prevent her from being killed. Voldemort told her that it was for her good, though since he was trying to ensure his immortality, it was primarily for his. Voldemort then decided that it was no longer safe to send Nagini on any more missions for him. And here is a watered down brown acrylic wash to bring out all the details. When Harry was killed by Voldemort for the first time, Nagini was released from the protective enchantment as he believed that there would be no more threats to her life, and she was draped around Voldemort's shoulders during the Death Eater's victory march back to Hogwarts. And that satisfying moment of revealing the eyes, of course. Just putting in the final details by aging up the edges of the board and also putting on the banners. And once that's done, let's have a look at the final result. With Nagini's death, Voldemort's final Horcrux was destroyed, thereby stripping him of his immortality. He furiously tried to kill Neville for it, but was stopped by Harry. Voldemort himself finally died when his killing curse rebounded onto himself once again. And this is it for the 5th video in the Harry Potter Pet Companion series. One more to go before I close out this series. I do like how this one turned out, but my favorite is still the one with Crookshanks. All my social media can be found in the description box below, and if you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and bell notification button so you don't miss out on any future videos, and of course become part of the Raven family. Thanks so much for watching, stay safe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!